Welcome, leaders. I'm Paulette Sterling, leadership strategist, executive coach, and someone who deeply understands the emotional patterns we inherit as Caribbean people. Today, we're diving into a topic Caribbean leaders rarely talk about openly: emotional triggers and how they silently sabotage our leadership. This is the problem I believe Caribbean leaders face. We grew up hearing, "Stop the noise, fix your face, don't answer back, you're too sensitive, wipe your tears, big man don't cry, stop, stop it, strong women don't show weakness." So we learn to suppress emotions instead of understanding them. We learn to hide feelings instead of processing them. We learn to push through instead of healing. And now, as leaders, those unprocessed emotions show up as short tempers, overreactions, defensiveness, withdrawal, impatience, tone issues, miscommunication, or burnout. Not because we're bad leaders, but because we're unhealed leaders. Here is the identity shift I'd love us to look at. Your triggers are not your enemy, they are your teachers. They reveal unhealed places, they reveal unmet needs, and they reveal unprocessed experiences. When we understand our triggers, we stop leading from our wounds and start leading from our wisdom. I call this the trigger awareness cycle. Let me break down the trigger awareness cycle because once you understand it, I believe you will never see your reactions the same way again. This is the difference between reactive leadership and mature leadership, between leading from your wounds and leading from your wisdom. And to make this real, I'm going to walk you through some examples, whether you are in the Caribbean or you're in the diaspora, because the triggers may sometimes show up differently, but the cycle is the same. First, there is the stimulus. What happened? This is the event, the comment, the tone, or the situation that triggered you. Caribbean leader, hear this. A team member says, "But that's not what you said last week," in a tone that feels disrespectful. Diaspora leader, a colleague in the UK says, "Can we circle back on this?" But their tone feels defensive and you interpret it as them undermining you. The stimulus is the spark, but it's not the fire. Then there is a story. This is what you told yourself. This is the meaning you assign to the event. I'm now speaking to my Caribbean leader, leading in the Caribbean. You tell yourself, "They're challenging my authority. They don't respect me. They think I don't know what I'm doing." My diaspora leader, leading in the diaspora, you tell yourself, "They're trying to make me look incompetent. They don't value my contribution. They think I'm too direct." The story is where the real trigger lies, not in the event, but in the interpretation you created. Then there is the state. This is what you felt. This is the emotional and physical reaction. So, my Caribbean leader, your chest tightens, your tone sharpens, and your patience evaporates. And my Caribbean leader in the diaspora, you feel heat rising in your body, your heart rate increases, you feel misunderstood, unseen, or disrespected. Hear me, your state is your body's alarm system. But you know what's good news? Alarms don't always mean danger. Let's look at the response. This is what you did. This is your behavior, which sometimes can be helpful or harmful. My Caribbean leader leading in the Caribbean, you snap back, your tone gets sharp, you shut down the conversation. My Caribbean leader leading in the diaspora, you send a strongly worded email, you withdraw from the team, you over explain to defend yourself. This is where many leaders lose influence, not because of the stimulus, but because of the response. There's good news. Repair. This is what you can correct. This is what you must correct. This is the healing apology or adjustment that's needed. So, my Caribbean leader leading in the Caribbean, you realize your tone was harsher than necessary. You apologize for the delivery, not the decision, the delivery of the decision. My diaspora leader leading in the diaspora, you clarify your intention, you reset the relationship, and you adjust your communication style. You see, repair is not weakness, it is leadership maturity. This cycle is happening in your leadership every single day, whether you're aware of it or not. But once you can name it, you can change it. And once you can change it, you become unstoppable. Here are some steps that I believe will help you move from emotional reactivity to emotional mastery. And I'm going to show you exactly how they play out, whether you're in the Caribbean leading or you are a Caribbean leader leading in the diaspora. First practical step, identify your top 3 triggers. Ask yourself, what consistently gets under my skin? Here are some examples: disrespectful tone, being questioned, feeling ignored, last minute changes, passive aggressive behavior, being micromanaged, feeling misunderstood culturally. You see, awareness is the first step to mastery. Here's another practical step: name the emotion. Many Caribbean leaders, we were never taught emotional vocabulary. Yes, we know vex, annoyed, frustrated, and angry, but beneath those are many times deeper emotions such as embarrassed or overwhelmed, disappointed, unappreciated, insecure, excluded, misunderstood. So, naming the emotion immediately reduces its power. Here's another practical step: slow your response. This is where leadership maturity shows up. So, my Caribbean leader leading in the Caribbean, instead of snapping back, you could say, "Give me a moment to think about that." And my leader leading in the diaspora, instead of firing off an email, you simply say, "I'll respond shortly." Slowing down protects your influence. And then there is reframing the story. This is a great practical step. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? So, my Caribbean leader leading in the Caribbean, instead of thinking they're disrespecting me, what about asking yourself, reframing the story to say, maybe they're confused or overwhelmed? And my leader leading in the diaspora, instead of saying or thinking they're undermining me, maybe it could be that they do not understand your communication style. So reframing shifts you from reaction to leadership. Then there is another step where you could practice emotional grounding. This is how you regulate your state. Here are some grounding techniques, and a lot of times, people think of them as cliche, but they really work. So you could try techniques such as deep breathing, counting to 10, taking a short walk, drinking water, pausing before speaking, relaxing your shoulders, or slowing your tone. Grounding is not weakness, it is wisdom. In fact, I think it is a secret weapon. And then another step, build a trigger recovery plan. This, I believe, is very important. You can remain authentic even after you build your trigger recovery plan. This is where your strategy is for when you get triggered. So your plan might include a phrase you use to pause, a breathing technique, a journaling practice, or you debriefing a trusted colleague. Maybe you reinforce a boundary or a script that you literally write down and use every time to reset the conversation. Leaders don't avoid triggers, we prepare for them. And last but not least, a practical step I would invite you to consider is to seek healing, not just coaching or coping. Coping manages the moment. Healing transforms the pattern. They may look like therapy or prayer or journaling, inner work, emotional education, forgiveness, simple old fashioned forgiveness, or releasing some old narratives, and of course, coaching. Healing is the leadership work many times nobody sees, but they will feel it. So, leader, if this is helping you understand yourself more deeply, go ahead and like this video. It helps YouTube reach more Caribbean leaders who need this sort of clarity. And subscribe with notifications so you never miss a session. Can I tell you about one of my favorite Psalm 139 that says, "Search me, O God." Emotional maturity is spiritual maturity. And before you go, download my free emotional clarity guide for Caribbean leaders. It will help you identify your triggers and lead with emotional strength. Because when you master your triggers, you master your leadership.